be starting with the quarterbacks here. I will be doing quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers. Also, I'll be doing a list with tight ends and the defenses. That's all going to be in one video, so be on the lookout for that. We're going to go ahead and jump straight into it. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. Hope everybody's doing well. Now, we're going to go ahead and get on it real fast. We can go in order like this, if you don't mind. Right here we got who we got? Stafford, one of my favorite quarterbacks. Uh, Last year played 16 games. Fantasy football points for last year was 221. 66% passer, as far as his passer rating is concerned. 235 yards per game, 20 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. A difficult guy to a difficult guy to not put on your roster when you need a backup or anything of that sort. Probably wouldn't get him as a starter. That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But I wouldn't be opposed to it. Somebody was to do it. It wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. But where am I ranking him? I'm gonna put him on tier 3. Quite frankly, I think he's a tier 3. Again, a guy you can get on your roster, any kind of emergencies. You already got you a plug and play right there. He's gonna do what he needs to do. Moving along, so we got Goff. Now, Goff played in 17 games, had 335 fantasy points last year to go along with his season stats was 72% passer rating, averaged 272 yards per game, 37 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. You know, I've seen different people's lists. Underground Fantasy, some of those guys. I've seen Pro Football Fantasy and those kind of things. I don't think they agree with. I don't think I'm in agreement with them as it pertains to Goff. But I kind of see Goff as a definitely say I have to see him as a tier 2 guy. Makes a lot of sense for me. I'm going to be doing my draft here soon. Hold on, let me put him here for a second. Apologies for that. This advertisements on these websites making it a little difficult. But I'm gonna put him at tier 2. I'm gonna be doing my draft. You're gonna see my main draft. I might do a couple mocks. I don't know. I'm talking about fantasy football. But you're going to see my full fantasy draft. I'm in a pay league, so you'll be able to see that. Hopefully you enjoy that. I'm going to do my drafting on here and all that. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to wind up putting Goff on my roster somehow. That's what I think about him. So we got Jared Goff. Let's see who else they got down here. Now we got Sam Darnold. Now, I'm fairly high on Sam Darnold. I'm gonna be honest. I was surprised Minnesota Vikings got rid of him. That's not a decision I would have personally made. I know they felt like they had to, but I don't know. His production last year, the way he not just what he was able to produce, but the way he played, it was pretty efficient, and I like what I saw from him. We got 17 games he played. Fantasy football points 320. His 2024 stats was he was 66% pass rating, 254 yards per game, 35 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. That's for me. That's a hard thing. That's a difficult thing to. That's a difficult player to cut right there. So let me make sure. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go tier 3. Again, apologies. I wish I could just put it straight up there, but these advertisers making it difficult. Tier 3. Now, let me know what you think about that. That might be that might be a controversial um, pick right there, but nevertheless, next player we got Josh Allen. It's not difficult to imagine where he's gonna go. Again, we're gonna use this tier right here. Our first player at tier 1. I can't imagine anybody having anything different than that. He's my quarterback. What I got? He's my quarterback 4 actually. He's played in 17 games last season. Uh, 385 fantasy football points, 64% passer rating, 219 yards per game, 28 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Obviously, he did a great job in the running game as well. Got some more pieces there, got some more receivers there, so you would imagine that some of those stats kind of increase next season. It's going to be fun to watch. I know that for sure. And let me pull up some depth charts. Let me make sure I'm doing that. Because while we sitting here shooting the shit, I can let you know what, because really, you see me making a list, go ahead and make your own. Go ahead and make your own list. That's why I said, and let me know how your list comes out. You could do that for sure. I just want to bring up some depth charts so I can let you know what it looks like. You can kind of make your decisions for your own list, or make your decisions on my list, whether you agree or not on how these players are going to fare this upcoming season. Now, I want to move along. We got Trevor Lawrence. Now he's tricky, man. I'm curious about. I might start going live because I'm curious about some of you guys' opinion about a guy like Trevor Lawrence. I think this upcoming year, he has a lot more things afforded to him, some more weapons. I think in general the coaching is going to be better. You got that part. I believe that. That's not a unequivocal fact by any means, but I feel that that's a possibility. If he does not have a good season this year, only Lord telling what's going to happen. I would imagine they might try to move on. I wouldn't be surprised, rather. So we got Trevor Lawrence. Played in 10 games. 61% passer rating. 204 yards per game. Obviously, these are not full. He didn't play a full season, right? 11 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Not his best job, but again, didn't play a whole season, and we still waiting on that potential. So I think one more year can be granted in that regards, and now we talking about tier. I think I know where I'm gonna put him. About this tier 4, and if I make an adjustment, I make an adjustment along the way. We'll have to see how that goes, but for the most part, this is how I feel about these guys going. Let me mark him off my list. Now I want to make sure I'm moving as quickly as possible. That should not keep you for too long, but we're going to make sure we thorough and we hit all our points. You know what I mean? Moving along, we got Bo Nix. I'm a big Bo Nix guy. If you watch some of my draft content, you look his year coming out, you can see how my opinion about him. I really knew, and he's with the perfect coach, and Sean Payton, to really get the best out of him. It's been really fun watching him play. I think I'm going to go, okay, well, played all 17 games, 329 fantasy football points, 66% passer rating, 222 yards per game passing, as far as passing yardage is concerned, 29 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. So, as we all know, he had a nice season last year, and they need to kind of improve the receivers there. They need a number 2 to go along with Sutton. They got another running back, R.J. Harvey. They're not finished there. They need another running back. They need another receiver for sure. This could really take him to a whole nother place, but that remains to be seen. Are they going to put the right pieces in place to get the best out of him. So we just gonna move him here for a second so we can move up. And then we got him. I'm gonna put him on tier 2. That's how I feel about him. That's how I feel about him. Now moving along. Caleb Williams, he's interesting. Can do a lot of things. Obviously, can run the ball pretty well. Throws the ball very well. Really enjoyed watching him play as well. These rookies, those rookies are pretty good. He's tricky. Give me 1 second. Let me think. I think maybe 4. Go along here with Trevor Lawrence. He can definitely exceed that. Both of these guys can. Both of these guys have the talent to be able to do that. Last year, he played in all 17 games, 260 fantasy football points, 62% completion percentage, 208 yards per game, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I love the 6 interceptions. Young quarterback. I love seeing that. That's why he's here in the 4th tier, which is, but when you see comparatively speaking to the rest of the field, tier 4 is not a bad field at all. You're gonna see that. That'll be evident as we go along. So, Drake May, now, he's interesting. It feels like I didn't get a good enough sample size for May. However, we did. He played in 13 games, so that's not bad as far as being able to tell what he can do, what he can't do. Better receivers, improved the running game, did a lot of different things, new coaching, new culture. You would imagine that these things help him excel. But at the current moment, let's see. Let's go tier 5. And if you want those stats, 13 games played, 185 fantasy football points from last year, 67%. I like that. 175 yards per game. Passing, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Do not like the 10 interceptions. That's why we got him right here, tier 5. Could he exceed this? Maybe by 1 tier. I think he could get in this tier 4 area when it's all said and done, but that remains to be seen as well. Pat Mahomes. A lot of people feel differently about Pat Mahomes. It's a mixed bag. Some people have him in the 2nd to 3rd tier. It's a little low for me. Hard for me to go with the offensive scheming, the way he plays normally, how they would how they able to put things together. Really hard for me to go past tier 2. Give me a second. That's interesting. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go tier 1. I think that's fitting. I think he's gonna have a better year than he had last year. A lot of people say he had a bad year or whatever the case may be. I didn't think he had a bad year. Every year is not created equal. Obviously, he's not old by any means, but he is getting older. He is having wear and tear, so those things are taking its toll. He'll have to adjust, start doing more thinking than start putting that in the forefront as opposed to his physicality and physical abilities. He's smart enough to do that. He's in the right place to do that. So I expect a big year out of him. They improved. Nothing earth-shattering as far as getting more receivers in there. But I think they got enough guys now there to kind of allow the cream to kind of rise to the top. They got some competition going, so that should fare well for him. You're going to see a lot of wide receivers for them on the practice squad as well. They got some talented guys there, guys who could contribute but may not have enough time with them. So expect that along the way as well. That's something to look forward to. I mean, he got depth. You know what I mean? So that fares well as far as points, fantasy football points are concerned throughout um, the entirety of the season. So moving along, Geno, my favorite quarterback in the league right now. I love watching Geno play. Geno, hard for me not to put him high up here, but 17 games played, 281 fantasy football points, 70% completion percentage, 254 yards per game on average in yards, 21 touchdowns and to 15 interceptions. Got to get those interceptions down. I think a little more emphasis on the running game, especially with Genty being there. I would imagine that that's a way to kind of combat some of that coaching, how that's going to be, how that's going to play out for him. So let's see where we're going to put him. A lot of play action. Because he can, we're going to go 2. I was going to put him in 2. I just had to move the screen up. He's going to, with that emphasis on running the ball, I think that's really going to allow for him to, I think he's going to be some big plays there with guys who may not normally be big play receivers and stuff like that. I think he'll be able to, and things like that rather. I think he'll be able to. You're going to see him make some big plays. So I would imagine he has some big games. Moving along. Make sure I'm checking these guys off the list. Again, agree, disagree, go ahead and put it in the comments. So who is that? That's Geno. We're done with Geno. Who we got next? Justin Herbert. I really liked his stat line. All 17 games played, 288 fantasy football points, 65%, 228 yards per game, 23 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. The guy's keeping the ball out of other teams' hands like that. That's really something to build on. A lot of people say he had a down year. I don't think it was all his fault. I think there was a lot of moving parts in that regard. Play from some of the teammates wasn't the best. Coaching was good. I thought he had a better season than he got credit for. But with that being said, let's go ahead and tear him up. Where we gonna go? How about this one? Give me a second. Let me move this up. I'm trying to find a way to get rid of this advertisement, then I can maneuver these players a little better. How about that? I think that makes sense. Dak Prescott. We all know injury concerns. It's comes with the position, something that has plagued him. I would say not necessarily more often than not, but he has been hindered by injuries throughout his career. So Dak, but when he's able to play full 17, full 16, he's been able to produce it. I would expect the same thing to happen this year. Only played in 8 games, 116 fantasy points, 65% completion percentage, 247 yards passing per game, 11 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. That sounds like a tier 2 guy to me. I just feel like he'll be able to produce that. So let's take a look at our tier list so far. See if there's any shifting or anything. So far, so good in my opinion. Not a popular looking list, but to me, it's the way to go. Let's get Dak out of there. Who we got next? Russell. Interesting player. Will he play the full season? Chance he couldn't. We need to make sure we're aware of that when we're talking about putting him on our fantasy football team. However, stability, he can create some of that. Backup quarterback, sure. If he's, I don't think he's in your top 5 in that regard as far as being the backup to your starter in your fantasy team. But if you really out there and you really want to take a chance on him, their style of offense, It's gonna be interesting. He's gonna be interesting. What would I put him? I think he's slightly better than 4. I mean, excuse me, slightly better than 5. I kind of want to put him in tier 5. Let me kind of come back to that. Could be 4. Um, Played in 11 games, 178 fantasy football points, 64% passing percentage, 225 yards per game, 16 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Did a good job protecting the ball. Did a good job of winning games. So it's hard to kind of keep out of this 4 range, but he's a guy I'm going to come back to. At the moment, we're going to keep him at 4. Let's say we're going to make him a low 4. He's a low 4. Just really depends on how if he play in all these games. Could be interesting. But he's a low 4, high 5 here. I will put him above Drake May as far as my fantasy is concerned. Now, moving along, Jaden Hurts. Now you know he's gonna be in one of these top 2. Excuse me, I had to adjust my seat. One of these top 2 tiers. What are y'all thinking? 1. Let's look at his stats from last year. Let's see what he was able to earn. 15 games played, 320 fantasy football points, 69% completion percentage, 100 to 194 yards per game, passing, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's clean football. Clean, good work. To me, we're going to do that. Let's go one more. Coming off a Super Bowl, it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to that, how the team responds. So be on the lookout for that. I can easily see him being in tier 3. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because of what he's able to do in the past and his ability. I liked him since college, and I thought when the Eagles got him in the second round of his draft, I thought it was such a brilliant move with Doug Peterson as the head coach. I thought it was just such a brilliant move. Made a lot of sense because I always loved the way he protected the ball. Very low interception rate in college football, and it's carried over to the NFL. And a difficult guy not to make your quarterback one if some of these other guys are not available. Jaden Daniels. Now this is a pretty easy find here. With he definitely going to tier 1, but let's speak on the stats. 17 games played, 364 fantasy points from in 2024, 69% completion percentage, 209 yards per game, throwing the ball, 25 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, and of course he did a great job rushing the ball as well, and that's why he's here. And speaking on Russell, I think Russell's going to have a big season rushing as well. That was the other factor in me putting him in tier 4 as opposed to tier 5. I think rushing because I think he's going to have to. But I think he's smart enough to do it. He's good at navigating the pocket, and he's good at balancing his attack and knowing when to run, so those sort of things. So that being said, that's why he kind of so I kind of nudge him up a notch in that regards. Jordan Love. Interested. I think I know where I'm going. Put him here. And we can so I wanna there we go. See that looks I know I keep going back to the Russell Wilson thing. But before I go back to Russell Wilson, we got Jordan Love here. Make sure I'm marking him off my list as I go. 15 games played, 245 yards, fantasy points, 245 fantasy football points, 63% passer rating, 226 yards per game passing, 25 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Also, he is dangerous in the running game. Right here, tier 3 to go along with these guys. I like my tier so far. I like how we're looking. I want to put him here. I think this is a more suitable kind of idea. It makes a lot more sense. J.J. McCarthy. Now, I think J.J. McCarthy can play. I think he's going to be a pretty good quarterback. But there's some things that when he came out of the draft, I wasn't that high on. I'm really banking on the offense. Really kind of compensating for the things that he don't do that well. They're very astute in how they coach and scheme quarterbacks. So this has more to do with the team as opposed to Still, I kind of still want him. It's interesting. Let's go. Let's start out tier 5. Let's start out tier 5. See if we can get him up here. Put him right in the front. Be looking at. I might switch him. I might switch him to tier 4 before it's all said done with. But let's go tier 5 for the interim. Penix. Lefty. Lefties are not easy to scheme. Very extraordinary, very good athlete. I would say elite level for quarterbacks for sure. Stat line didn't have a whole lot to grade because obviously he played late on into the season as Kirk Cousins was they started to begin with. He played in 5 games, 58% completion percentage, 150 yards per game, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I think he's definitely going to have a better season than he did prior to. I kind of see him more or less in this tier 4 range. I think he's going to have a full season. He's going to do a lot of good things, especially in the running game. That's kind of why I think he's going to excel. His ability to escape the pocket. So that's more or less why I see him in the tier 4 range. These two could easily, hold on one second. Apologies for that. I had to get the phone situated. Now, I could easily see these two switching here. That's possible. But more or less, this is kind of how and now that I'm looking at it, I like it even more. So that's how I see that. Now, we got Mike Penix. Justin Fields. He's probably the most difficult player to assess as far as his fantasy, how he's going to contribute that way. He played in 10 games, 65% completion percentage, 110 yards per game, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Steelers loved him. They really wanted to re-sign him if they could, but obviously wasn't able to make it happen. There's not a whole lot of competition for him there in New York at the current moment, which I don't know if that's a good thing for him. You would hope that him competing with Russell Wilson in 2024 kind of showed him how to compete, showed him how to play in general. You would imagine. It's a tough one. I'm gonna go tier 5. Somewhere in here. I'm gonna go tier 5. I like the look. Let's take a quick glance at our tier list real fast. Let you take a look at that while I'm looking at it. I like it. I like where I'm going with it. Now, Bryce Young, um, 14 games, 204 fantasy points, 61% completion percentage, 170 yards per game, 172 yards per game, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I think he's going to have a nice season. I think he's going to have a pretty good season. Could go 5. I'm tempted to go 6. I know how their offense is going to be. They're going to be real run heavy. He makes a lot of smart plays, though. Makes a lot of smart plays, but he, could have some issues as far as injuries are concerned. Gets banged up a little bit in the NFL. Let's go 6. And this is in no way talking about his talent, at least in this case with him. This is just about his contribution to fantasy. That's what this is about. And this is kind of where I see him in general anyway. I kind of see him in the 5th tier, more or less, but that remains to be seen. He's going to have to kind of prove himself that way. Obviously, Carr's not playing. Let's go ahead and go Baker. Baker Mayfield, 17 games played, 382 fantasy points. Had a very good season. 71% passing percentage, 265 yards passing per game, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. It's hard not to put that guy in that tier here. Y'all agree, disagree? From what I've been seeing, some people feel he's in tier 1, some people in tier 2. I just feel like he's played himself here and done a good job leading his team to playoff contention. He's always playing for something. He competes with himself. Guy like that you can rely on in fantasy. You believe he's gonna play in games. He's not gonna be easily deterred. So you can kind of put him in your lineup, feel comfortable with that, not worry too much, and kind of have fun with the rest of the draft. So, Kyler Murray. 17 games played, 308 fantasy football points last year, 69% completion percentage, 226 yards per game, 21 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. I think 3. That's the list that's coming off to me right now. Exactly where my mind went. Yeah. Brock Purdy. "15 games played, 279 fantasy football points, 66% completion percentage, 258 yards per game, 20 touchdowns to 12 interceptions." He's always a contender. He's always a competitor. I love him. Always been a big fan of his since he left college. I think I still got my quarterback player ranking. I was one of the only people who saw his talent. I called him a natural point guard. I think that the San Francisco 49ers in general are going to have a pretty good season this year. The way they drafted, they got some pieces coming back. They kind of cleared the decks. I like them simplifying the team in general. I would imagine they're going to do some of that to the offense as well, kind of allow, not force too many things with Brock, but just kind of allow him to play and be as comfortable as possible. So, let's go 3. Let's go 3. All right, now this is not going to be hard. These next couple of guys, obviously, he goes here, and I'm going to adjust them to 1, 2, whatever as I go. I'm going to do that more silently because, like I said, I don't want to hold you too long. But We're gonna talk. We're gonna have a good time. Joe Burrow. And by the way, if you need me to read those stats off, 17 games played, and this is for Lamar Jackson, 434 fantasy points. That's wild. 67% completion percentage, 4,172 yards passing, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's extraordinary. That's extraordinary. Joe Burrow, obviously, you know we're going with him too. Let's get him up here. Tier 1, easy tier 1. One of my favorite quarterbacks to watch in this draft, in this upcoming season. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league, along with I love Geno and I love Hurts. Love these guys. We got Burrow, 17 games played, which is phenomenal for him. He's able to stay healthy. They give him some more help on their offensive line. These kind of things can happen. 300, excuse me, 382 fantasy football points back in 2024. 71% completion percentage, 289 yards per game, 40 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Extraordinary. Extraordinary. Boy playing football. Now, moving along. See, let's go to CJ. CJ Stroud. 17 games played, 232 fantasy football points back in 2024. 2024 stats, 63% completion percentage, 219 yards per game, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. You hope he can improve on those touchdowns, come down a little bit on those interceptions by at least a couple. Let's look for his tier. What tier are we looking for? About 3. What y'all think? 3. That looks good. Yeah, that looks good. Obviously, he contributes quite a bit in the running game. Smart football player in general. Good athlete. Anytime can have a big game. Defense does a good job of getting him the ball back from time to time. Kind of guy you want on your roster. It's gonna be hard not to. You see him sitting there, hard not to put him. Hard not to draft him. When you start doing your fantasy draft. I think I want to do Richardson next. Let's do Richardson next because he's interesting. 11 games played as a starter. 175 fantasy points. Only 40 lowly. Excuse me, I'm adjusting. Lackluster 48% passing percentage, 165 yards per game, 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Now, will he improve? I don't know, man. Of course, his physical ability it would be up there in tier 1. I mean, physically speaking, he's one of the best, if not the best, from a physical standpoint, outside of Jackson and Daniels. From a physical standpoint, athletic ability is what we're talking about. He's in top tier. So you got to take that into consideration. He could run, he could throw. Definitely not tier 5. I don't think he's proven enough. I'm debating between tier 6 and 7. 7 seems more likely just because it don't seem like it just don't seem like he understands how to play quarterback. And it don't really seem like the Colts are helping him in that regard. You know, I think it's kind of on both of them. They neither one, him or the Colts, are making this situation any better and doing well by each other. So I'm gonna put him in 6 for the time being. He's such a talented player. It's hard not to put him there. 1 second. Apologies, had to turn on the light. Running across it. Who we got next? Let's go Tua.
Games played 11. Fantasy football points for 2024, 189. His stats from 2024, 72%, excuse me, 73%. Completion percentage, 260 yards passing per game, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. We all know what Tua can do. Very good player. Coach is very good schematically, smart guy, astute. Always puts Tua in the right positions. Tua does a good job of executing. Can he stay healthy? And obviously, we're going to take that in consideration here as well. But when he's healthy, he can really put up some numbers. Big number guy when he's healthy. I think that's deserving of a tier 4 situation there. My guy Cam Ward, I think he's going to have a nice season. I'm interested in seeing him play. Can't wait to see him play. Could put him in tier 6 here. And the reason why we're doing that, why, is because we don't know. But I think he has, to start off with, I think he has tier 3 kind of ability. So, tier 5? Yeah. Let's go tier 5. Let's go tier 5. Tier 4 can make sense to me too, but, that remains to be seen. He has some issues. His throwing motion is, I don't love it, but I love everything else he does. I love the way he commands. I love the way he commands the pocket. I love the way he throws the ball. I love how he competes, how he leads his team. Does a lot of things right. Just interesting to see how he's going to play this upcoming season. Joe Flacco, we're gonna throw him in 7. I don't suspect that he's gonna play the full season. Shador probably be the guy there. Thought about dropping Shador on this list as well, but I didn't necessarily deem it necessary. And here with Rudolph, I can't imagine him playing the full season as a starter. Aaron Rodgers probably most likely at this time might be the starter there. So you got that. Obviously, this guy retired. So let's go ahead and shape this list up according to how I see it. Now, like I said, I'm going to be quiet on this because I want to make sure I'm getting everything out the way. Or rather, make sure I'm doing everything properly. See if you know where I'm going. I told you I'm a Geno guy, man. I'm a Geno guy. I'll put him back here. Let me put him back here as well. That looks good. Could be back here. That seems about right. That seems about right to me. Let's go him here. Let's go him here. His ability to run is one of the main reasons why I put him here over in front of Trevor Lawrence. And obviously we're gonna do this. It's gonna be interesting. Now, it's gonna be the interesting part here. I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna go there. Man, Cam could, man, can't wait to see him play. Then we got him here. I'm tempted to put Bryce. I want to put Bryce up here. Throw Bryce. Hold on, excuse me. Okay. Put him back down there. kind of in space all his own, and this is indicative of what's really going on with him. He's kind of in the league all his own, man. It's really a very unique situation there. Could go here. I think he's a better football player, and that does it. That's my list inside and out, as far as my quarterbacks are concerned. Remember, drop me a line, agree, disagree. It's all accepted. It's all appreciated. I'm gonna be coming out with another one. Be doing, probably next time I'll be doing running backs. Then from there, wide receivers. Then I'll do one with tight ends and defenses, to all go in one video. I also got, if you haven't seen, I got very early 2026 mock draft out there. Please go check that out and be on the lookout for my other player rankings. And along with these player rankings, I'm gonna have my live draft coming up when soon as we're able to draft on fantasy. So that being said, please like, share, and subscribe. Be much appreciated. And I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate you for listening.